So this is just my bike route, and this is where I started. So it's a little pathway, and here we go. Yes. So this is the first pond in a series of ponds that we visit on this bike route. Here we come to a bench by the pond where I rest if I have a snack or something. I sit on that bench right there and finish it before I continue. This it was on a very cold day and I didn't really have anything, so not needed. Up ahead here, we meet some of our friends, the geeses. The geese, they sometimes are nice and move out of the way like here, but sometimes they like to stick in their place like some of the friends up there. See, we're sort of on the latter half of this curve here. You can see a couple of geese trailing off. It leads into a road, and eventually this will lead to another pond. So, cut uh, right about here, we have a little. Well, you have to cross the street to obviously get to the second pond. So you want to look both ways, and obviously, while you're biking, probably shouldn't be doing this with the phone, but both ways while you're biking as well. That's what I always do because like gotta be safe. So this is the second pond. It's smaller than the other pond. Yes, even in summer and spring, these old bushes you see that are like reddish oranges are filled with flowers and pollen, and very luscious and very calming aspect of all of this. Just like all the ponds we're about to see, this is one big loop. Well, sort of loop, closed off loop. Because on the side with the houses, there's no sidewalk, of course. So I took a little break to warm my hands up on that bench you just saw. Right now, I'm getting back to biking. See, here is our first of like a corkscrew. So you can go either these two ways. That end was a dead end. So here, I'm coming up, trying to get to our first big pond, our first big clearing where we can, not clearing, but first big area, as I said. This climb, when I first started biking, was a little difficult for me because, you need to build that leg strength, but this decline's always fun. And when you round this corner, you can almost see it through the corner, but this pond is pretty big. It's bigger than both of the other ponds combined. Here you can see it is huge. This bench right here, if I don't know, I'm feeling nostalgic, maybe listen to music here, but this pond is pretty big, pretty huge. Here, there you can see the ducks, little friends. Yep, right there. No, the geese. I'm pretty sure. No, those are ducks. Never mind. But here you can go two ways, and over there that leads to a place I'm gonna go further in this video bike route. And I'm just gonna go this way for, I guess, a more relaxing sort of ride because on that side it's very long and tiring. So it's very cold out this day. So here is very cold and not alive, but when during summertime it's beautiful. Like really just a peaceful moment. So here, rolling up on a little bit of a bend at the end of this big loop, and this right way goes to a different pond. It's very. If I went that way, it'd be very short. Very not. It didn't really give you time. So I'm going this right way, and here we are at the end of it. You want to look both ways before you cross the street because you don't want to hurt yourself. Here we go, another bend, because a bunch of these uh, ponds like have multiple directions you can go. I'm gonna go this way because this way is very intense route. Yeah, the way I'm pointing. So yeah, I like to think. I think a lot when I'm on these bike rides. I take my time, and it really helps me in the environment. It gets harder during the winter because it's not very, you know, not a lot of vegetation. But in the spring and summer, it's very calming. Uh, Biking past all these things, and it's very freeing. It's like you, know, you might think like, oh, in my community, in my neighborhood, there's not a lot of places I can explore. I assure you, that's what I thought. And then you just start looking around for a couple minutes, and you'll find something. I promise you will. Yeah. Here we're nearing out my second like break point because my hands were getting really cold. It was like here we're coming out to my second little rest stop. My hands were getting really cold. It was extremely cold outside. So I just went and sat for a little bit in the cold. And then here we go on our little bike ride again. It was a little shaky at the beginning. I was having a hard time getting the kickstand up. But I those plants I just showed you were no ladies. There's trees and they're very vibrant in spring, but obviously winter came and very nice lovely. So here there's a fort. Not really a fort. There's one sidewalk that leads to the main road and one paved little sidewalk that you can see. A little paved blacktop thing. I want to show you this side, the sidewalk side to the main road because I want to just show you the two ways I sometimes go. And I want to talk about some things, you know, very interesting. But I try to stay off the road as much as I can because that's very dangerous, you know. Like, I mean, I can use a road and you're like technically allowed to use a road, but if there's sidewalk, you should definitely use the sidewalk because using the road is very dangerous and you should try to use it as sparingly as possible. Only in like tight situations where you can't, where there is really no sidewalk, like main roads, I guess. See, right around this area is where you can go a lot of different places. And I don't really like to cross streets like this because they're incredibly busy. You can't really see it now, but they really are. And sometimes what I like to do is I go down here, go down these roads and this road and sort of mismatch. Or if it's very clear and there's no cars around, like at all, I like to go directly forward. As you saw, there was a sidewalk directly forward. So here's me turning around because I don't want to really go that way because it's very cold and just not the safest. Or back on the sidewalk. So, yeah. Guess what we're doing? Biking again. We're back on this paved road. Stopping for a second because I think I dropped something. But, here we go. This paved little path. It's much safer and, leads to ponds and stuff, like bigger ponds. So, here we have it. Um, Leading up here is a little fork again. It's two sides. One leads to this very boring thing that is very boring, just very small ponds, and then eventually loops back to where I was in that very small pond. So I don't really go down there. So we're deciding to go to the left. Here we are. This path happened to be very long. So yeah, here we have just a little bit of, you know, basic riding. It gives you lots of time to think, and once you get comfortable, you can very like sort of zone out when you're biking. Here's the road I was talking about that was very busy, and you can sort of see how busy it is now. But when you're rounding these sort of corners, you can like see what I'm talking about. Um, we have the pond. In front of you, if you just look real quick, you can see another smaller pond. Not one of those big ponds we were at before, but a smaller pond. But this is a very, you know, place where you can sit for like a while and breathe. I didn't do that here because it was very cold, but I sat and thought for a little bit. My name is David Attenborough. Nope, still Syed. And we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're still biking. Okay, so we're going this way because if we were to go there, it would just be a loop. There would be no point. So here we are going this way. A lot of just quiet time to sit and do a lot of thinking. A little form of therapy. Just to calm yourself down after a long day. There's another bench here, but we don't really use that bench because that bench is usually very dirty. Here we are leading up to a next pond, a new huge pond. And so here we are, just crossing the street once again. Look, both ways, and only cross the street if percent necessary. In which case, it is. Here we go. You might think we could go there. No, we are heading to a little gazebo, I think it's called. That's where we're going to sit and relax and truly think for a little bit. Here's where I like to stand and just think, relax after a day. Maybe just spend a couple of minutes and just think about what I'm grateful for, what I'm thankful for, what I care about, all that. Just sit here and breathe. And after you relax and think for a bit, you just loop around, cut through the grass a little bit because there was a little bit of disturbance. But yeah, you just bike for a little bit more around this big pond that we just saw. Take a second to collect your thoughts before you start to head home. Here we are at the final little stretch of biking, the final little fork I go into. And you just finally stretch. This is where you finally like have to calm down, realize what this is all for, and just breathe a little bit again. Make sure. From here, you just retrace your steps, and I go back home. It's really fun. Yeah, car.